Rounded corners and ellipses are actually very difficult to draw when you don't necessarily know what you have to look for. So in this video, I will show you the different steps you could use to really perfectly and accurately do a construction so that you can take a cubical object and then perfectly round the edges. So what I will do first is simply create myself a cube, kind of like in a 45-45 position. And the main reason for doing this 45-45 is I can quickly create my proportional cube. That's the advantage of that view. Okay, so I quickly have to put down my angle, 45°. Okay, this will be a video that shows everything from start to end, so you can see all the pre-planning and thinking you have to do before you start sketching something. Because actually a cube with rounded edges is not difficult. It is just maybe, let's say, labor intensive, and you should really be aware of certain requirements. Not that you spent in like 20 minutes or so drawing something and then it doesn't work out. Okay, so there I have created now the height for the back edge and the correct foreshortened lower edge. So now on a new layer I can redraw these edges because they will function as my front face, and there's the upper edge and there is my lower edge. Okay, so perfect. Okay, so how do I now maybe figure out a good depth for this cube? Because I want something to be squarish and then roundish. So what I mean with this, if we create a rectangle, let's say from the front, and we would like to round it. So hold on, just have to maybe find the correct position there. Yeah, now you see we can fit in a circle into a square. So from the side at one point I need to have a proportional square, and also from the front, because then I have all the different axis planes I need to put my different ellipses on. So I could create actually this corner detail. So to figure out now the depth, I can simply select whatever point I want. So let's say maybe I make another drawing below there because this will be my corner detail. So I do another mini drawing like this. Let's put this to 45 degrees. Okay, let's position it, draw this one up. There's our circle template. Okay, there. And then nearly made a mistake. I can put down the horizontal line. So, because this line now defines actually the height of my rounding. So this box will have pretty rounded sides. Well, that's okay. And then they're a little bit bigger to see. Goody. So with this line here, I have also figured out already the other left edge, and then from here I can go over. There is now, as you can see, my lower edge and the upper edge. Then I can draw a line there and a line from there. Let's draw this one down, and there is my box. Okay, good. So with this small rectangle and this detail I created here, I not only decided the left edge and the right edge, but I also have the vertical edge. So I will create myself a new layer so you will see what I can do now. So I will go to this vanishing point and there, and I draw a full diagonal so you can see it. Go to there and there, draw a full diagonal, and you see actually that the diagonal runs through this point. So this means that now I can draw a straight line up, and you see it will hit the other diagonal. So this point, height-wise, I mirror it up. Now with the perspective tool, so going to the right vanishing point, I can draw a line to there. If I draw this one down, I find the other diagonal, and if I go from here to there, I find this other point. You see, another perfect square. And as it turns out, nearly it looks like this is 1/3 thickness compared to how long or tall actually the square is. So why is this very important? Let me turn this one off, and I would like to continue in here doing a little bit of drawing, and I will put in small rectangles. So these rectangles or squares are more or less really crucial if we want to draw an object that actually has let's say circular rounded edges. So not ellipses, but more like a circle. I just create this one onto a new layer so I can turn it on and off as needed. Okay, so there is, for example, number 1. We also have one rectangle here along this plane. There to there to the other vanishing point back, and there. See, 2 rectangles. So this one will get an arc. This actually will get, or more, we will put an ellipse in. And then we also need to find the mid one. So let's do this. We will create a new layer. And before I do this, let's do a little bit of foreshortening, and not foreshortening, finding the midpoint there, and point there, and point there. Okay, perfect. Then we can use the perspective tool, line up and line down, and then from where it touches this edge to the vanishing point, and to the vanishing point, and to the vanishing point. And then if I drew this correctly, they should meet up, and they nearly do. Okay, so to make this a little bit easier to read, I wanna clean this up a little bit. Opacity. I wanna adjust the size. Wow. Okay. Sometimes this is actually easier. I want to erase everything there. Okay, and let's reduce this a little bit. Okay, good. So, why was this midpoint important? You see that this blue line touches this red line, and also the blue line here touches this red line. So take a look at what happens when I do this. And I continue drawing a line there. and it touches this red line, and I go down and it touches the blue line. There's actually now another square, and we will place another ellipse on this part. Okay, we know to put ellipses correctly on it. Ideally, we want to have the midpoints on the edges. To do that, we need to find the diagonals, and then there we can find, well, it's a little bit off, we can find the midpoints on those edges, and then here with the perspective tool there. So we know we have now 3 points, 1, 2, and somewhere on the third, probably maybe roughly there. Okay, let's repeat this actually with red on this layer. So we will do here the same from there to there. This is actually straight horizontal and down. Okay, and then vanishing point, and vanishing point. So here now we have 1, 2, and 3, and then somewhere here will be the third one, and probably there is the third point. If you pay close attention, you can see we can put an ellipse in there. Okay. One more time for this one here. So diagonal and diagonal. And this looks like a very, very complex task. The thing is, ellipses are simply very complex and labor intensive if you want to get them good. And since this is for everybody in beginning sketching, you probably do not have lots of experience with doing ellipses. After some years, you get a good feeling for how they should look like. Then obviously you memorized it, but at the beginning it is really better draw them. Simply don't eyeball them, because chances are very high you eyeball them incorrectly. Okay, perfect, good. So let's take a look at what we have and how we could now draw everything. I will make a new layer, and let's see, what color will I use? Maybe green. Let's bring in the ellipse template there, scale this down there. This will go somewhat to the vanishing point. So yep, there we are, very close to it. You see the way how I guessed actually the 1/3 is off. It's actually too close to the midpoint, but this seems to be okay. And it has to touch this point, and it has to touch this point. So I will draw a line there. Okay, so that's the rounded corner we will only see. Okay, let's go to there. And I made a mistake. Shoot. Because you see, I used this square here, but my arc only stops here. This is actually unfortunate. I made this mistake. That's silly. Not a big deal. What I have to do is simply rebuild another red square, and you will see where I will have to do it. There is this midpoint of my blue rectangle, and here where my cursor is, that's actually where later it will end. So there. This will actually go to there and up over there. There's that point. Okay, good. And there we found it. Not very difficult. This was actually horizontal and vertical, and then to the vanishing point there and there and there. Okay, you see this red rectangle is height-wise positioned at the midpoint of this blue rectangle. Good. Let's go back to there. Okay. Let's switch to green. Show the ellipse. Now the first ellipse you see is an ellipse as a cylinder going to the left vanishing point. The next one will actually be more vertical because this is in front of us. So we can scale this one down, move this a little bit, and there we are. So pay attention to how different, for example, the ellipses are and these arcs. You see here, this arc, it looks very squeezed, and then here in the front, this looks like a much bigger arc. And that's okay. That's the way how it has to look. Okay, good. This one actually is incorrect. You know what? I simply will delete this one. And this one I will delete. And I will just make a new one here. And I have to do it another rectangle right there and back there and up. Now you see it touches it back and from this black line straight up. Okay, now I found the correct position for this construction rectangle. There we can put in again our diagonals and there, and then to the vanishing point. From the vanishing point I found those midpoints straight down. This is actually here. Okay, and we found our next ellipse. So here the minor axis has to go to the right vanishing point. And let's see how we have to scale this and rotate it. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, and then here on the green layer, let's put this arc down there, going up and there. Perfect. And if we pay attention to everything what we created, you see now this arc goes down and then goes up, stops at this arc. This arc comes over, touches, and then this arc connects from the midpoint to the midpoint. So this is the only way to really perfectly, accurately construct these ellipses. And that's what you need when you want to have an object that is nicely rounded. I will pause now for a second and put in a few more of those arcs so you then can actually see the end result. And there we are back. Time to put in our ellipses. Let's go to green. Try to adjust this correctly. So this ideally should be at the vanishing point. I'm not sure if this rotation is 100% correct, because I don't want to zoom out again. But the minor axis goes to the vanishing point. Okay, so this one is done. Here's our horizontal, and that one is easy. It just has to go straight down. And let's squeeze this one in till you see it touches, and touches the midpoints. There. You can easily also there see how interesting this arc is. So it's not really an arc that goes to there. It's really more ellipse that comes out and goes over. One of the main reasons why I say ellipses are hard, and just don't try to eyeball them. We tend to really eyeball them at the beginning the wrong way. And then here the last one. Okay, there. Good, so let's take a look at what we have. We can now connect some lines. So this is connected. This is, for example, connected. If we did everything correct, all these lines should match up. It's a little bit off. There, it's very close. There. Then we also have here a contour line, as you can see. And there's a contour line. And you see there's an open gap. So there now to this vanishing point. Let's actually show this rectangle here again. This has to be a little bit bigger. So, okay. This is not 100% correct, but probably very close. So you see this line, if I would stop, should follow the vertical direction, and then here it should go to the vanishing point. So one line there. Here actually I marked this a little bit thicker, so we see that this is actually a contour line. And also this one I ink more, so you can better see the difference between a mesh line and then the contour line. Also at the bottom we have exactly the same situation. So let's see. Yeah, and that seems to be roughly what I need. Oh, no, this is a tough one because it has to go from there also to there. See, this is not necessarily like an ellipse. So there's one point, next point, next point. So it should go kind of like this. This looks actually pretty good, because then from there it continues to the vanishing point, and same there. Here this goes down, there we have a contour line, and then the last thing missing is there. So let's see, might this actually work? This seems to do it. Inside this box, and there we now have the construction of a box where we rounded multiple corners in a controlled manner. To make this drawing by hand obviously also a little bit more readable, I would only trace actually the lines I see and do not show the lines that are behind the object, because that would make the object look like it is actually a translucent material. There. And as it looks, it seems that this ellipse somewhat might be wrong. So I'm just curious. I want to see the vanishing point. There is my ellipse template. There's this one. Okay, I want to put down some lines for the vanishing point there, and maybe just a long line so I can see that better. There is my blue square. Let's bring in the ellipse. So now I can actually see where that the vanishing point would be, and on this blue part it has to be squeezed more, a little bit bigger. So this line actually seems to be nearly correct. And there you see, actually that angle is right. So this line is okay, but then maybe, I don't know, maybe this arc is wrong. So again, from the vanishing point here, I just want to put down just a line to roughly see where that direction is. And I think in this case now I need to see this. And let's rotate it. Let's scale it down. Maybe a little bit more rotation. Yeah, so this is probably the reason. Maybe the square got slightly squeezed or something. But you can see while I touch the midpoints here and there, the rotation line is off. It should be more like there. Yeah, and there you can see that it is a minor difference, but this should actually be more this line, and I created this one. There you can see this actually has to be more like there. So tiny details can still mess it up, but again, you know, ellipses are very, very complicated, and when we draw this by hand, this will have anyway more inaccuracies built in. You see even here with the drawing tools and the templates, chances are high to make some mistakes, which again, I know I repeat myself, but try to really be patient with all these construction lines and make these boxes right, because if you follow this process, then later creating your ellipses will be more or less nearly foolproof.